Throughout ancient times, the breathtakingly beautiful valley of Kashmir has stood for peaceful contemplation, intellectual advancement, and religious diversity, coexisting in an atmosphere of tolerance for the most part. In the modern geopolitical era, this same diversity, evident from the blend of Islam, Hinduism, Sikhism, and Buddhism in this single state, has made it a center of warfare rather than cultural advancement.
The situation became really difficult in the late 80s and early 90s. In the late 80s, there was an election in 1987, which was widely believed to have been rigged by the Congress Party and the party of Dr. Farooq Abdullah, the National Conference Party, and many of the young people who were in the Islamic parties who felt that they had been robbed in that election, they turned towards militancy.
In early 1986 were the first clear outbreaks of violence when Muslim fundamentalists attacked the minority Kashmiri Pandits. The exact reason of the outbreak remains unclear, but at the end of it, number of Pandits had been killed and 24 Hindu temples had been burned by Muslim mobs. The Afghan War and subsequent defeat of the Soviet Union demonstrated to the Kashmiris that superpowers could be defeated.
Nobody knows, including in India, that actually the exodus of the Pandits from the valley happened after Benazir Bhutto did a famous Azad Kashmir speech, where she inflamed, the minds of Kashmiri Muslims in the valley in India by saying that Kashmir should become free. Every Pakistani politician have done that, because it rallies the Pakistanis around them. Mr. Nawaz Sharif is doing the same now. So Benazir Bhutto, who's seen as an icon of democracy, she was pretty. I interviewed her 2 times. She was pretty. She was intelligent. She was Western educated. She spoke good English. She actually became a rabid fundamentalist, maybe for political reasons, but nevertheless, she's responsible for the exodus of the Pandits from Kashmir.
They were killed to frighten the Kashmiri Pandit community that even their prominent members were not safe. Anyone who goes against the campaign of terrorists will be shot dead. So they were frightening the people, and the people had already migrated. Farooq Abdullah's government has not been able to find even a single culprit who have killed their Kashmiri Pandits. So I in fact assured them that you kindly stay there.
मर्डर मैंने सतीश को मारा।
सतीश कौन?
सतीश कुमार टिक्कू।
जिस लड़के ने बिट्टा कराटे ने सतीश को जान से मारा, उसके लिए आप क्या सजा मुनासिब समझते हैं?
क्या समझते हैं? बेटा तो मेरा कहाँ से वापस आएंगे?
The expulsion of Kashmiri Hindus was tantamount to the genocide of Hindus. It was a religious cleansing. It had fundamental implications for this secular nation building, which wanted to ultimately have a Muslim state of Jammu and Kashmir on the territory of India.
The administration and National Human Rights Commission never came out with the exact number of killings. No committee was set up to look into what exactly happened. Even after 25 years, no accused has been convicted. This apathy by state government and central government led to deep wave of resentment within the community.
In the first year alone, Because of heat stroke, we lost more than 1,000 people. Probably as many as we lost to the terrorists back home. More than 1,000 people. Then we started educating the people about how to take care of themselves in heat, because they used to go out in midday sun and they used to die of heat stroke. People didn't know that this is heat stroke. People thought they are dying of some heart attack, brain stroke or some hemorrhage, till we found out that these were heat strokes. And then the heat strokes went on going down. Even now, every year we see nearly 60 to 70 heat strokes after 24 years in exile. So that was one major disaster. All the allergic conditions that you could think of, because now we were in a different ambience.
Over 300,000 became refugees in their own country. The educated and affluent community was reduced to penury. What they had perceived as a temporary migration became permanent. The property that they had left behind was either burned down or occupied. The jobs which they had been compelled to leave were filled in by appointments of Kashmiri Muslims. A few Kashmiri Pandits who decided to stay back were killed as the valley stood silent.
कोई डॉक्टरों की फैसिलिटी नहीं है, कोई अस्पताल की नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है यहाँ पे। और पानी तो आए 15 दिन हो गया, पानी यहाँ पे आ नहीं रहा है।
ये हमारे मुल्क में बांग्लादेशी, अफगानिस्तानी, नेपाली, पाकिस्तानी वो बड़ी आराम की ज़िंदगी बसर कर रहे हैं। उनको आईडीपी, इंटरनेशनल डिस्प्लेस्ड पीपल का उनके लिए इनको 12,000 रुपये पर सोल को देने के लिए है, और कश्मीरी पंडित के लिए इनके पास कुछ भी नहीं है।
In 2008, Prime Minister's Relief Fund was announced for Pandits, giving them temporary rehabilitation and government jobs in the valley. The relief fund proved to be a scam, as a major chunk was siphoned by the state government. In 1997, the Jammu and Kashmir Migrant Immovable Property Act was passed to facilitate the sale of Kashmiri Pandit properties, and most of the properties were sold under distress sale. Pandits do not want arms. They seek justice from the judiciary and the parliament. And in this particular case, justice has been outrightly denied.
It is a scandal. It's a shame. It's a challenge to our sovereignty that in our own country of 80% Hindus, we have 500,000 Hindus living in refugee camps largely, and as refugees. I mean, that is the key thing. How can Hindus be, after being 80% of India, be refugees in their own country?
As far as Kashmiri Pandits are concerned, Kashmiri Pandits are strewn all around, all across the world, from Johannesburg to Jammu. We are a small community, but the only thing which has worked for us is the fact that we're almost a 100% literate community. The Kashmiri Pandit diaspora in US, for example, or UK, or many other countries, they are doing very well for themselves. And individually, we try to do as much as possible for our community who, are suffering in terms of education or healthcare facility. Will not go extinct. And I think I have a lot of hope in future generation, especially from the kind of feedback I've received from them as far as my book is concerned. So they are very aware of what has happened to us in Kashmir.
इस देश में कश्मीर एक ही है जहां से पंडितों को धर्म के आधार पर निकाल दिया गया। जो सूफी परंपरा की भूमि थी, उसको आपने निजी राजनीतिक स्वार्थ के लिए संप्रदाय के रंग से रंग दिया है।
It is true that Sufism existed in Kashmir, and that Hindus and Muslims would cohabit with each other. They would go to each other's, marriages, festivals for a long time. My opinion is that Sufism is a myth today. That it's been wiped out by Sunni fundamentalism. And that, of course, it came from Pakistan. There was an element of Pakistan that came from Pakistan, which is a hard Sunni nation, and started, putting pressure on the Sufism that existed in Kashmir. There were many Sufi shrines I actually saw the last Sufi shrine of Kashmir called Shahar al-Sharif, which is a beautiful wooden mosque. I saw it burned to the ground maybe in 96 or 97, I forgot. That was the last Sufi shrine, and it was burned by a Pakistani militant and his people. So gradually in Kashmir, this tolerance, because Hindu have tolerance anyway, this tolerance of the Muslims towards their Hindu brothers and sisters started eroding.
The generation after us, they don't have to struggle as much as we did. So they are free to return to the issue of Kashmir. And some of them, I speak to them regularly, and they know exactly what has happened in Kashmir. And they are very keen to regain a foothold in Kashmir. And God willing, there will be a time when we'll return back. And if you've read my book, you can make out that the book ends on a note of optimism. And we are very clear on that. Maybe today it's not possible. Yes, like the Jews say, next year in Jerusalem. Yeah. So that's what we say. Next year in Srinagar, God willing.
Their rehabilitation plan can possibly be in shape of Ladakh Buddhist Council, or autonomy provided in the same state of Jammu and Kashmir, or Indian Union Territory carved in Kashmir, like their organization such as Panoon Kashmir. Whatever the model would be, they should thrive for excellent relations with Kashmiri Muslims, with whom they share so much in common culture, language, and must look together for common pool skill mix they possess in form of intellect, entrepreneurship, and craftsmanship. They are important as saffron of Kawas, lotus of Dal, and chinar of Shalimar. If this happens, the world is an oyster for Kashmiri Muslims and Hindus together.